In this video, I'm going to show you how to work the flat slip stitch method. So grab your hook, your scissors, your tapestry needle, and of course, your yarn. And don't forget about your water. For this video, I'm going to be using a very high contrast yarn, which is this Woolies Thick and Quick mustard color. So to start, you're going to create a slip knot. Make sure to leave a tail to seam in later. And since we're going to be working up just the side here, it's easier to sandwich your work together, wrong sides facing towards each other. And then you're going to make sure to really line up those corners. You can choose whether to work into the first chain one or the second. It will depend if you're working multiple squares together or just two. If you're only seaming 2 squares together, then make sure to go in both chains. The placement of your working yarn, the yarn that is attached to your skein, is very important to keep this flat. So now take your hook and insert it into the back loop of the stitch. And then you're going to match the placement, making sure to keep that working yarn in between and technically under your work. And then we're going to find what's considered the back loop of the other one, but in this case it'll look like a front loop because it's closest to us. And rather than repeating front to back, in this case I'm going to be going back to front. Now you should have 3 loops on your hook. And you'll yarn over, and then you'll pull through all 3. This is called a slip stitch. And don't be alarmed if you start to see this loop rise. It's completely normal due to the tension of this. And so there you have it. You have the first join, and now you're going to repeat this into the back loop of the next one. So you'll insert your hook, find your next placement, but making sure not going front to back, and instead back to front. So this placement is correct, and don't accidentally do it this way. If you do, it will lift your stitch a little bit on just specifically that right side. It's kind of funny because technically working it that way is much faster. And now yarn over and pull through all stitches. You've now completed your second flat slip stitch join. And this is really all there is. You just repeat this all the way across. So now continue working this across until you get to the very end of your square. I'm just going to pull my hook out so you can see what we currently have now. At this point, this is what you should see. I'm just working my last slip stitch join into that chain 1. And then at this point, you can fasten off and cut a tail. If you're going to join more squares, you would then bring them in and continue the exact same process all the way up. With this method, it often means you're going to have a lot of tails to weave in the end. So it's best to weave in as you go if you have a giant project like a blanket in the works. And I just wanted to take a moment to show you what the wrong side is. Technically, this join can also be quite beautiful, and you could choose to use this as your right side. And you can see if you used a high contrast color, you could get a pretty cool effect. And that's the basics of the flat slip stitch granny square join. Also known as the granny square join, the flat slip stitch, blah blah blah. It's got many names, so don't be alarmed if you end up hearing different terms used for this method. I hope you found this video useful and that it helped you level up your crochet game. Have a wonderful rest of your day.